Hello and welcome to the Jamf Parent App Introductory Video Series. This video will cover applying app restrictions and locking to a set of apps using Jamf Parent App for both Jamf School and Jamf Pro. You can apply the following as needed or create pre-scheduled setups within the Jamf Parent App. Going into the Parent App, I'll enter a student. I'll see on the main screen immediately I can actually turn off capability to certain app categories, such as games. Now it has to rely on the app having the category set, so this could be useful. But more useful is to actually go in and restrict the device functionality native to the iPad. I could go in and remove access to Safari and say FaceTime. And when I hit done, those would be removed from the student's iPad. I'll go ahead and clear that. And now I'll look at App Lock. With App Lock, I can actually set which apps the student has access to on the iPad. Rather than removing one or two, I can allow only a few. I can set the time period, and I can go down, for instance, and say I want the student to have notes, iBooks, and perhaps a few other apps I know they need to be able to do their school homework. They may need to be able to access email. Give them access to the calculator and measurement. I know they need some of the Apple apps like Keynote and Pages. I need to verify the time I entered. Looks like it moved, so I bumped that up to 2.5 hours, and I've hit done. I can see that only certain apps are now allowed. Even though the icons don't show up exactly, I know that Keynote and Pages are available. These will be the only apps available. They do also have access to system preferences. While that's useful to do on the fly, I may want to actually set up some device rules that can be based upon location, motion, or date and time. Location could be set up for if a child arrives home, or perhaps you don't want them to have access to their camera while they're riding a bicycle. But date and time is probably the one you'll want to use the most. And while again I could use categories, I'll go into custom. Here's where I can decide what days of the week. And for this, I'll go ahead and set something up custom that's to happen every weekday. It'll be the after school. And even though I have some of these others set up, I'll just reset this up. I'll choose Monday through Friday, and now pick a time. School ends, child typically gets home around 3:30. It's set up on a 24-hour clock, so I'll choose 15:30. And I'll have this end at 6 o'clock. I'll proceed, give it a name. I can see that it's set up as custom. I can already see the times of when it's going to happen. And then I'll save. But I haven't actually said what I want to happen yet. And I have to create it first and then go back in and edit it. So I'll go back into what I just created, click through Next, and now it gives me the option to which apps I want the child to have access to. And since this will be pretty much every day after school, I'll go through and choose all the appropriate apps that the child may need access to, realizing I can always go back and edit this as needed. I'll continue going through and pick as many apps as I think are necessary. And just like before, once this is applied and when the time hits, the child's iPad will be limited to just these apps and system preferences. Okay, that's enough. I'll go ahead and hit done. As I mentioned, I can go back and edit these as needed. I'll go ahead and show you the nighttime one I set up. You'll see it was already set up as custom. And you can see what I've allowed, and I've only allowed iBooks. And I've chosen every day of the week at 9 o'clock, ending at 7 a.m. That means I don't have to think about when my child goes to bed and they grab their iPad, I know that the only thing they have access to is iBooks. We also have a tab for device. And while it has some information like the storage and battery, and it does show a location, I want you to realize that location is not precise. It's based off of IP. And depending on the internet address your student's device gets, it could be relatively accurate or it could be showing that somewhere else. So we don't rely on it for pinpointing the location. One other thing that would be very helpful is under Settings, you actually have access to the support documentation related to Jamf Parent, and you can go in and see all of the capabilities. And because we're always adding new things to the app and the videos may not get as updated as quickly as this would, if a new feature comes in the Jamf Parent app, you know where you can find information about it.